Welcome to the Liberated Feminine Podcast. I'm Lucy Lampy, your host, and this episode is for those of you who are what we would call the lower desire partner in your partnership. Now, first I want to say that there is nothing broken about you if that describes you. I have spoken with countless women and men and couples throughout the years who, when they are the lower desire partner, they feel like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I have the turn on? Why don't I feel the spontaneous desire? Why don't I have the desire to be intimate with my partner or even with myself? And this comes down to, well, there are a lot of factors, right? The number one thing that I've seen throughout the years, and even in myself, has been nervous system health. So when your nervous system is in overwhelm, when your nervous system is on the fritz, your sexual desire is easily one of the first things to go. Or for some people, when they are really stressed, their nervous system actually craves more intensity, especially in the bedroom, or just craves more of that sexual high. But for a lot of people, and especially mothers, especially young mothers, these are the people that I have spoken with the most throughout the years, being a mom now for a couple decades, okay? They are overstimulated, overtouched, touched out, I guess that's really the phrase that we use, and exhausted, stressed, frustrated with their partners that they're not supporting them more than they are, or not on the same page with their partners. All of these things add to that lower libido. Now, outside of that, we also have the daily stressors of just life, right? So anything that can take a chip away at your capacity of your nervous system is something to consider. There are different seasons, etc., that in your life, maybe you won't feel as much of that exuberant, like big, loud, bright, yummy, juicy sexual desire, okay? But outside of that, okay, let's move on here, because what we're really talking about in this video is rewiring your relationship with sex. I had a more recent conversation with a woman who, her only experience with sex so far has been obligation, performance, a way to seek more acceptance and some kind of semblance of commitment from a man. And if she was not able to, or willing to, or feeling in the mood to put out, then she was scared that this person would break up with her or cheat on her. And sadly, this is the reality for a lot of women. And I know this can also apply to men, but also we are here in the Liberated Feminine Podcast, so I'm speaking more to the women here. Now, rewiring her relationship with sex, we would have to take it back to the not just her first earlier sexual experiences, but also her relationship to sex itself, her relationship to her body, to her pleasure, to her sensuality, to her erotic aliveness, so that it is not all lumped into this distorted sexual relationship. And no fault of her own. Right? This is not about victim blaming or making ourselves hyper responsible when other people also made decisions that were hurtful. This is not about that. And we're also not bypassing abusive situations. So that aside, just if that applies to you, then know that I'm not excusing any kind of abusive situations, okay? But when you are ready to redefine or rewire your relationship with sex, there are a few things that will make a world of difference. And first, actually, before we move into that, I want to acknowledge you. If that is you coming here as maybe seeing yourself or experiencing yourself as a lower desire partner, wanting to experience more of your pleasure, not so that you can please your partner better or get him off your back or get finally make them happy, but for your own aliveness. And this is the first point, is rewiring your relationship with sex or your relationship with pleasure, period, to be one of nourishment and something that is life-giving instead of something that is extracting and depleting of your life force. A lot of times these same women who are feeling like they can take it or leave it when it comes to sex, I was one of them in my previous marriage, and it wasn't until 2/3 of the way in that I shifted my relationship with my pleasure, with my body, and with sex itself. And I started to experience it as this deeply nourishing, life-giving, yummy experience. And then I wanted to do it. I wanted it for myself. Now, when a woman is feeling like all that her partner, again, let's say in a typical scenario of people that I speak with, are in a heterosexual relationship, so let's say that he has a higher desire, she has a lower desire. This is not always the case, ladies, okay, but this is common. And he feels anxious about sex. A lot of the couples I've worked with, he feels anxious about sex because he doesn't know when he's going to get it again. He doesn't know if he's going to somehow not be a good enough partner that evening, or if he needs to give the back rub or not, or kind of walking on eggshells and giving off this weird, like, wounded boy energy. Honestly, that's what it is. His anxious attachment's really coming out. And then she senses that. That adds to the pressure that she's already feeling. And she doesn't feel safe to bring the fullness of who she is. She doesn't bring safe to just, hey, you know what? I'm exhausted today. Can you meet me where I am? Can you just give me a back rub without an expectation of anything more? So these dynamics that keep looping back into each other, and both people end up feeling more disconnected, feeling further away from each other, and feeling further away from what they really want. So when we fundamentally shift our relationship to sex itself, removing all of the stories and the history and the fights and the conflicts with that person, but just sex itself, this is a space for me to receive nourishment, a space for me to meet more of myself, a space for me to experience and be experienced. It changes the game completely. Now, another thing to keep in mind here, the second thing, is that the sex must be worth wanting. As I believe it's Esther Perel that says, sex is not a thing we do, but a place we go. And also, if the sex is not worth wanting, women actually get bored sooner, faster than men do. Statistically, this is what she has found, what has been found. And this is because it becomes predictable. It becomes calculated in a transactional way. It becomes like the presence isn't there. It lacks presence. It lacks intention. It's all about the goal of just getting to the finish line. And there's so much more that you can experience. And even experiencing each intimate encounter as its whole new thing, as a brand new thing every single time. No matter how many times you've done it with this person. You recreate the past by expecting it to be the same and layering that into this experience here instead of being present. And so if you are lower desire in your relationship, maybe it's because the sex isn't worth wanting. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, maybe don't say this directly to your partner, but do say, or do ask yourself, what would make this sex worth wanting? What do I want more of? What do I want to be softer? What do I want to be more intense? What do I want to bring into the experience that I'm currently not? What do I want my partner to bring into the experience that they're not? And fantasize a little bit. This is the next point, is that a lot of times when you're the lower desire partner, you haven't explored the depths and the richness of your own erotic psyche. I'm not saying get into porn, go deep into the rabbit holes, and then that's the only way that you can get off, and then that disconnects you from your partner. That is a slippery little road to walk down, okay? What I am saying is get curious and honest with yourself about what gets your gears turning. What gets you excited? What turns you on? What makes you feel the little tingles deep in your belly when you think about it? I mean, it could be something something that feels a little bit like, oh, I don't know, I feel embarrassed that I like this. Like, what's a common fantasy? Like wanting to be just whisked away and taken to some obscure island and then fucked all day and night. You know, there's a reason why there are these movies. There's a reason why 50 Shades of Grey was so big, and all these more darker, edgier, erotic films. Maybe you get turned on at the thought of a massage, getting a little bit extra, becoming more than a massage. Maybe you get turned on by the idea of being worshipped, of someone just being there to serve you, and you get to tell them whatever you want them to do, and they will happily do it. Your fantasies, your fantasy world can live completely in your mind. It doesn't mean that you have to play it out. Now, I'm going to go deeper into this in the Unbound series that is happening this weekend. It's starting Sunday. So if you want to go deeper into this in a 5-part live series featuring my friend Kimmy Inch, who is a professional dominatrix and kink educator for many, many years, we're going to be going deeper into this, okay? If you want to understand and unpack more of your erotic psyche and see how your kinks and fantasies can actually be deeply healing and expand your consciousness, and also just be fun for the mischief of it, okay? But my point here being, not all fantasies need to be played out. Some of them are actually way better just in your head. And until you explore just in your mind, like, okay, wow, what does turn me on secretly that if my partner knew about it, I would feel embarrassed. I would feel a little bit like, oh, are they gonna judge me? Afraid of being judged or rejected. What is that? And get curious about that, because when you are refusing to explore your sexual shadow, that is a huge, I cannot emphasize this enough, huge cut off of your erotic energy, your erotic aliveness. So this is one thing that I would encourage you to explore, and especially in a series like that. So if you don't get to make it to the Unbound series live, you can catch the replays still at the same link. Okay, now, finally, if you are the lower desire partner, something else to consider is to let sex and self-pleasure, all pleasure, sex with yourself or sex with another person, be a space of curiosity, exploration, and play, instead of a place of pressure and performance and rushing to the end goal. This is also what supports more safety in your nervous system when you are approaching your pleasure in a no pressure, slower, letting it unfold more naturally kind of way. That is more oxytocin based, whereas if you're feeling like, oh, I just gotta come really fast, and you're having sex with your partner and you feel like, oh my God, what's taking me so long? And then you feel more stressed, your body feels less safe, your nervous system feels more wound up. Of course, that's gonna impact the entire experience. So what we wanna do in those moments is just soften. We're not trying to do a complete 180 and become multi-orgasmic all of a sudden, but we want to soften. What will help to soften my body in this moment? Maybe just breathe. Just take a breath and then continue. Maybe shift positions, maybe shift speed or pressure or whatever. But the goal here is to bring softness into where you feel rigid so that you can be more aware of what there is to play with there, so that you have spaciousness for curiosity. Now, I'll keep it at that. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify. And thank you for tuning into this episode. And again, if you want to join me for the live series, it's pay what you can currently for the live registration. Visit the link in the show notes. And otherwise, thank you for joining me for this episode. And as always, here's to liberating your wild feminine heart.